Today I'm going to talk about the new changes in LEED v4, really how they relate to building performance, and especially through the lens of building technology. So there's a lot of new credits and prerequisites that have a lot to do with building technology, and so we're going to discuss those today. But first, I work for the Institute for Building Efficiency at Johnson Controls. We're a market research initiative of Johnson Controls that does research around market trends as it relates to building efficiency. And one of our big research projects every year is the Energy Efficiency Indicator Survey. And I just wanted to show this going into our talk because it's showing that the expansion for green building certification, voluntary certification, is expanding and continuing to expand. So this global trend is important to note as we're looking towards a new rating system. It's going to be continuing to be relevant as we go forward. Before I go into the specifics around some of the technologies and credits that we have in LEED, I wanted to touch on three main aspects of LEED v4 that are important. The first one is increased technical rigor, and this is of no surprise. A lot of people just figured out how to do LEED as time went on. So in order to keep up with that market, getting smarter and smarter with green building, USGBC wanted to increase the technical rigor of the rating system. But not only are they increasing those thresholds, they're not just making it more difficult, they're making it so that the buildings actually have a positive impact on the environment and on the occupants. And really that collaboration is a renewed focus for LEED v4. Performance is a huge emphasis, and really V4 is focusing on performance both in new construction, so really setting up technologies and infrastructure to allow for a new construction building to go forward and monitor and maintain and improve the performance, but also in existing buildings. So again, a very heavy focus on measurement, verification, and transparency of performance data. Then we have market expansion and global applicability. And we know that LEED is obviously something that has been adopted around the world and in many different markets. So in LEED v4, they've really changed this to be more adaptable and more relevant to different building types and to different places around the world. So with different alternative compliance paths, different international rating systems, compliance, and things like that. So now we'll look at the energy and atmosphere credits, specifically around energy performance, metering, and measurement and verification, and demand response. And these things I chose really because they have the biggest differences from the LEED 2009 rating system, as well as an increased emphasis on building technologies. Building energy performance, this is a mainstay of the LEED rating system. And in new construction, they've updated the performance requirements from ASHRAE 2007, 90.1 2007 to 2010. And what this means is that they've really made an emphasis now on lighting controls. So this is everything from occupancy sensors, daylighting controls, automatic shutoffs, as well as plug load controls. So 50% now of the plug load has to be automatic shutoff. And this is obviously done through the use of building technologies. Now in existing building, they have elevated the performance requirements using Energy Star from a 69 rating to 75. Now, this is not something that's specific to LEED v4, but it is something new that in coming years, there's going to be a pilot credit. It's already in pilot. It's an alternative compliance path called Energy Jumpstart. And what this is for buildings that cannot meet that minimum threshold for the Energy Star rating of 75, if they demonstrate that they can meet a 20% improvement in their building's energy ratings or energy efficiency, then they can meet this prerequisite and therefore go for LEED rating system. So really allowing a lot of that building stock of existing buildings that never could meet that to really try to include them in LEED rating systems. And obviously, Panoptics and the Energy Performance Monitor are products that can help to monitor and verify that savings. Metering is a brand new prerequisite in both new construction and existing buildings. And remember, prerequisite means that this is something that projects have to do, or they cannot meet LEED at all. They cannot be certified to any degree. So it's brand new for that. It's also a credit, and it's a new credit in new construction and a combination of a few other ones in existing buildings. For the prerequisite, it just has to monitor the whole building energy use data, but it needs to be connected to the building automation system and has to be a minimum of 1 month intervals for 5 years. Now the credit is an accelerated version of that. It's a little bit more challenging. They must record 10% or 20% of consumption for new construction and existing buildings respectively. And data must be transmitted remotely on an hourly basis. And for existing buildings, it actually has to alarm when the energy consumption goes 5% above that consumption baseline. So that metering really allows for many different things to happen in a building. And one of those things is measurement and verification. Measurement and verification isn't a new aspect of the LEED rating system. In version 2009, it was a credit, but no M&V credit was in the existing building rating category. Now it really is kind of included in that prerequisite for metering, and so with the metering prerequisite and credit, M&V is really kind of a mainstay of the LEED v4 rating system. So again, these things are included, and so measurement and verification has to be shared for 5 years at a minimum of 1 month intervals if that's just going for the prerequisite. So it's really promoting that transparency of building data so that both new construction and existing buildings can monitor that data and improve over time. Demand response is a brand new credit in both new construction and existing buildings in the LEED v4 rating system. And basically you just have to have a demand response system in place if it's an existing building. If it's a new construction building, you just have to design for that. And even if there's not a program in existence in the location of the building project, as long as you have that infrastructure ready to go, then you can meet the requirements of the credit. The ultimate intent of the credit is to curtail 10% of that load. Existing building projects also can participate in a permanent load shifting, which means typically that you would have that thermal storage on site. And again, it's really driving at that 10% reduction of the peak demand. And the peak demand for new construction and existing buildings is either dependent on utility bills for existing buildings or that minimum requirement in the prerequisite for a new construction building. Now moving on to indoor environmental quality. This category has a lot to do with many different things all on the inside of the building, so air, thermal comfort, lighting. But what I want to focus on for this is really to drive home the increased emphasis of USGBC has on air quality in LEED v4. Air quality for this is really driven home by the increased role around monitoring for that indoor air quality. So it's verifying that indoor air quality that projects are saying is actually there and maintained over the course of the project and of the building life. The changes from 2009 to v4 is that ASHRAE 62.1 2007 is now updated to 2010. There actually isn't a whole lot of difference between those two, except for in existing buildings, they're including a requirement to create an O&M plan for that HVAC system. In new construction though, the USGBC has also added requirements again for outside air delivery monitoring. So again, using technologies to make sure that either outdoor air is at a level that's appropriate or that contaminants are also at a level that do not go over a threshold that has been determined by the project. So products like the Continuous Diagnostics Advisor can be in place to alarm when these things occur. And then I just want to finally mention in this category, the Enhanced Indoor Air Quality Strategies is a new credit. It's a new credit both in existing buildings and new construction. And you'll see, if you've worked in LEED, you can see that the indoor air quality category used to be very, very long, many, many different credits. Now they've combined a lot of those to be in this one credit. And really what it is, it's allowing project teams to pick different strategies in order to drive at indoor air quality. Many of these strategies have the requirement to use monitoring and building technology to make sure that that is actually at levels that are appropriate and that are standards for USGBC and the LEED rating system. So again, just technology is a big player in the indoor environmental quality category this year. So in conclusion, I just wanted to drive home the fact that the increased emphasis on performance is really creating an increased relevance for building technology. And that building technology is really what can make buildings more green, for grid responsive, energy efficient, and networked. Thank you so much.